Hey, my name's Izzy. This is Red Cards coming at you with another Magic the Gathering video. This time we're going over the red cards and one black card that I missed. Vine Reaper, 3/3 black for a 6/5 vampire assassin. Flying, ward, sacrifice a creature. Whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. It's a good card. Reanimate it, cast it for 6. Whenever a creature card dies, target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. This works with a board wipe. If they're trying to target, they have to sacrifice a creature, so they're going to lose 2 life, you're going to gain 2. It's just good, and it looks awesome, so, like, yeah, this is a good black card. One of the best ones out of the bunch. Let's continue on here. Here we've got Anzrag's Rampage, 3/2 black for a sorcery. Destroy all artifacts you don't control. Then, exile the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of artifacts that were put into the graveyard this way. Or put into the graveyard, artifacts that were put into graveyards from the battlefield this turn. You may put a creature card exiled this way onto the battlefield. It gains haste. Return it to your hand at the beginning of the next instant. Okay. Destroy all artifacts you don't control. Then exile the top X cards of your library. X is the number of artifacts that were put into graveyards. And the battlefield, from the battlefield, you may put a creature card exiled this way. Haste, return. This is a really weird card. So it pops all the artifacts for 5. That's interesting. So let's say your opponents have like 2 each. That's 6, right? Then you're going to exile the top 6 cards of your library. And then you may put a creature card exiled this way onto the battlefield. Yeah. It gains haste. Return it. Does this have an... No, it doesn't. The exiled cards stay exiled. I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that. I guess it is kind of a rampage. You're not even thinking. You're just like, do it. But, yeah. If you know you're going to hit a card that can win you the game, sure. But you don't even return it to your hand at the beginning of the next instant. I think this is, like, pushed, but not great. I could see you doing something with it, maybe, but I don't like it. And it, like, maybe standard where, like, you can hit, like, something like this. 6/5, boom, hit them for 6, and then return it to your hand afterwards. But, you know, I'm not sure. Actually, I guess this could be useful if you could hit Eldrazi's in Pioneer. I could see that in the Pioneer Eldrazi deck. Hit the Eldrazi off the top. But then you'd have to only be good against artifact decks, which isn't good. So this is, like, because it has to be against artifact decks, this is coded for Commander, where everyone's running artifact ramp. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, cheat something big out. Maybe you can win the game off of it. Balrak Clan Basher. 4/2 red for a 3/2 Cyclops Warrior, double strike, trample, disguise, 3/2 red. So this is a 3/2. That's not bad. For 6. That is bad. But it's got double strike, which is good. And trample, which is also good. And here's a kitty cat. And it's got disguise, so you for 1 less. So you can play it on turn 3, then turn 5, flip it, double strike someone and hit them. Maybe that's good. I kind of like it for an aggressive pre-release deck, but that's about it. Cases, 2 cases in red. A case of the Burning Masks. 1 and 2 red. When this for an enchantment case, when this case enters the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to target creature in opponent control. So that's removal. I don't mind that. Solve. 3 or more sources you control dealt damage this turn. Okay, that's fine. Could be combat damage by a creature. Sacrifice this case. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. Choose one of them. You may play that card this turn. Okay, that's not awful. If you're really looking for like a burn deck and you need some card advantage, like aggro, like mono red aggro, right? Turn 3, you're playing this, boom, pop the creature out of the way, hit them with the creatures you're casting. Dealt damage this turn, so it doesn't even have to be your opponent. So you swing with 2 creatures, even if they block, you're dealing the damage, boom, it's solved at the end step. Next turn, you're sacrificing, you're exiling the top 3, you're getting an extra card that you can choose one. So you choose the one you want to play it this turn. Keep going. I could see this being played as the 3-drop in a mono red burn deck in standard. Case of the Crimson Pulse, 2 and a red for a enchantment case. Whenever this case enters the battlefield, discard a card, then draw 2 cards. Okay? I'm not against this. Yeah, you know, discard a card, draw 2, you're getting some card advantage here. To solve, you have no cards in hand. Okay, so, not madness, I forget the name for it, but yeah, no cards in hand. Hellbent. You're hellbent. Boom. Solved it in step. At the beginning of your upkeep, discard your hand, then draw 2 cards. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love cards like that where, like, be aggressive, right? I actually even like this in Pioneer Izzet decks. I don't think it's fast enough to hit Modern, but in Pioneer Izzet decks, like Izzet Prowess decks, this comes in, it triggers Prowess. You're discarding a card, drawing 2. Yeah. Then if you, like, get some creatures out, burn your opponents. Oh, I have no cards in hand. At the beginning of your upkeep, oh, I have to discard my hand. Right? But you have no cards because you triggered the solve. And then you draw 2 cards. So you're always going up to, and you're like, just cast them. Just keep going. Or Mono Red Burn. Would love this too. I think both of these are great in Mono Red Burn. I think you could see both great choices for many reasons. Caught red-handed, 4 to red for an instant. This spell can't be countered. They're adding a lot of those. It's because you're accusing them. In Clue, like, you can't stop me from accusing you. Like, this is an accusation. You can't counter my accusation. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap the creature. It gains haste until end of turn. Suspected. Which means it stays suspected when your opponent has it. Which means they can't block with it afterwards. Which is kind of cool. I don't like these steel cards. There's, like, the Grixis Marchesa likes them. I don't know if there's many other decks that care for them. Oh, Grixis Marchesa, and then there's the, no, she's the one who steals them. So, yeah, I don't know many other ones that like it, and it's a 5-drop, so you're not going to see it anywhere else, really. Concealed Weapon, 1 in a red for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+0. Disguise. When the concealed weapon is turned face up, attach to target creature control. Oh, that's interesting. So you can swing with it, and then they're like, okay, I'm not going to block your 1/1. And you're like, haha, for 2 in a red, I'm going to flip this disguise creature, instantly equip it to my 1/1, and boom, take 4 damage, I win. That's fun. That's just a fun thing to do. I'd like to see if that works in Standard. I don't think it'll, like, last. It might make people question Disguised, because 3 extra damage is not bad for 3 damage. Like, that's not an awful, like, rate. So, and it's a creature, so, like, at the worst, you can use it as a blocker. So, like, turn 3, drop it. This is the biggest thing. Disguise cards are going to really break down to what is the best disguise card that can be played on turn 3. So, is this the disguise card you play on turn 3 in your aggro deck? Turn 3, you're playing this, or are you playing Case or one of the 2 cases that are great. The case that burns your opponents and helps you get some more card advantage, or the case that helps you get more card advantage. This case is, not case, but this card is going to, like, flip into, is going to come down as a 2/2, and then the next turn, your 1/1 that's not blocked, because they're going to block this 2/2, boom, it's a 4. You're going to deal 4 damage to them. Is that worth it? Maybe? I'm not sure. You can't have Pretzel's little kitty cat. She's trying to get into my pretzel box. I offered her one. There's one there. She just wants to dip her hand in it. I think she thinks it's a fishbowl or something. Connecting the dots. Enchantments. 1 in a red for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks, exile the top card of your library face down. You can't look at it. Okay. Oh, you can't look at it. Okay. 1 in a red, discard your hand, sacrifice connecting the dots, put all cards exiled with connecting the dots into their owner's hands. I like this. I like this a lot. This is Beaumont Carrier, I think is the name of the card. Yeah, this is the whole point here is just swing with your creatures. Oh crap, I ran out of cards in my hand. 1 in a red, ditch my 0 card hand, and then add like 5 cards that are face down back to my hand. Great, absolutely fantastic. I think it beats out the cases. Oh, it's a great 2-drop. I think it's absolutely fantastic. This also works. Yeah, because there's a comma. I think it works. Maybe. I don't think so. At the beginning of your well, you have no cards in hand if unsolved. So like at the beginning of your end step, you check and then you use this to discard. I don't think it works like that, but yeah, this is great. I think it's fun. I think it's a very good card. I like it in Commander as well. It's just a card advantage thing. It's an enchantment, harder to remove than an artifact creature. You're just attacking with stuff, exiling them, and then if someone goes to pop, you're like, I'm just going to ditch my hand and draw like 10 cards or 5 cards. Very good in an aggressive red deck. Convenient target. A red for an enchantment aura, enchant creature. When enters the battlefield, suspect enchanted creature. Enchant creature gets +1/+1 and will have menace and can't block. And then pay 2 and a red, return it from your graveyard to your hand. Oh, I like that. I like artifact or enchantments that you can return to your hand, like auras, because you can recast them. So this is not here for any of the actual effects for the most part. This is definitely here as just a way to constantly cast an enchantment to trigger off your enchantresses in your commander deck. Cornered Crook is 4 and a red for a 5/4 Vishino warrior, and when it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice an artifact. When you do, Cornered Crook deals 3 damage to any target. I don't like it. Because you can sacrifice clues. So, like in a clue deck during pre-release, I think it'll be good. Crime Novelist, 2 and a red for a 1/3 Goblin Bard. When you sacrifice an artifact, put a 1/1 counter on Crime Novelist and add a red. This is a good card. This is good because it turns all your artifacts into costing 1 less, or it turns your treasures into tapping for any color and a red, which is good. This is going to see play in CEDH. It's an outlet for a lot of different things where you infinitely sack artifacts. It's just good in general, just a drop down in any deck that relies on artifacts for ramp, like sack artifacts, like treasures for ramp. Everything about this is great. Plus, it gets bigger, and that's kind of cool because you can hit someone with it to kill them. So I really like it. Otherwise, I think it's also just good in other formats that just need the ramp. Goblin decks like Ragavan. Ragavan likes this guy coming down. This guy comes down, and on turn 2, you swing with Ragavan, and then you land Ragavan. Next turn, swing, hit them, make the treasure and a land, get this guy out, and then you hit with Ragavan turn 2. Or I guess that's turn 2, turn 3, you hit with Ragavan, and now you're sacking it for 2. I think this could see play as the 3-drop in Red Burn with Ragavans in Modern. Demand Answers, 1 in a red for an instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact or discard a card, draw 2 cards. This is just instantly better than any of the other ones that have done this. The draw a card or discard a card, draw 2 cards. Because instead of discarding a card, you can just sack an artifact, which means you can sacrifice a clue or a treasure, and then you're getting it's just a draw 2, which is great. Like, I think it's a fantastic card, definitely worth playing in any deck that those were in. And I think this is just power creep, and I love it, and it looks good. Expedited Inheritance, 2 red for an enchantment. When a creature is dealt damage, its controller may exile that many cards from the top of their library. They may play those cards until the end of their next turn. This is good and very scary. So this is a hugs card, kind of. So they can choose, and that's the key, until the end of their next turn, which means they can get that nice large activation. I like it. I think it's really fun. I think as long as you're taking advantage of it, moreover, you'll get better advantage, okay? I don't think I can see it being played anywhere other than Commander, where you're running a Commander that, like, has advantage for casting cards outside in exile. Out of, like, off, not in hand. Because there's not enough of that in other formats, and I think other formats, like, you trade off creatures and you both can exile the top card of your library. I mean, you get the advantage of getting to use it first, but, like, I don't know, it's tough. I could see it maybe as even played, but you'd have to, like, really work around with it. Expose the Culprit is 1 in a red for an instant. Choose one or both. Turn target face-down creature face-up. Or exile any number of face-up creatures you control with Disguise in a face-down pile. Shuffle that pile, then cloak them. That's fun. That's fun. I think that really makes the whole idea fun. You're hurting me, kitty cat. I love you, but you can't claw me, okay? She likes to dig her claws into my shoulder as I hold her, and that hurts. So then I had to set her down. But expose the culprit, really nice. I think it's great in any face-down deck. Run it. Any disguise deck specifically. Felonious Rage. Felonious? I don't know. Felonious. I like Felonious. Felonious Rage. 1 red for an instant. Target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gets haste until end of turn. Then, or when that creature dies, this turn, when that creature dies, so not if, but when, create a 2/2 white and blue detective creature token. Okay, that's fine. Felonious Rage is funny. I don't like it. It's bad. Frantic Scapegoat. This is best art in set because it is goat. Goat good. Goat best. 1 red for a 1/1 goat. Goat good. Goat, greatest of all time, guys. You can't argue. It is a goat. It's a scapegoat. Haste. When Frantic Scapegoat enters the battlefield, suspect it. I think the goat did it, guys. When 1 or more other creatures into the battlefield under you control, if Frantic Scapegoat is suspected, you may suspect one of those other creatures. If you do, Frantic Scapegoat is no longer suspected. Okay, this card's fun because it's flavorful. Like, it's the scapegoat. That guy did it. That goat did it. Yeah, he did it. But, like, then another guy comes down and you're like, actually, no, it was this guy. It was definitely that guy. And so, I like Frantic Scapegoat because turn 1 it comes down with haste and menace. So, even if they got a creature out, you're hitting them. This is boom, you're hit. This is run 4 of these in standard burn, mono red burn, boom, hit them. The next turn you drop another thing, and you can choose, oh, I want that thing to be suspected. Because it's a bigger thing, and I want it to have menace, and now my goat can still just swing. It's great. I love this. You're gonna see it played in like modern, not modern, in like standard burn. Red aggro. Fugitive Codebreakers, 1 in a red for a 2/1 Goblin Rogue. Prowess and haste. New prowess, let's see. Disguise, 5 in a red. This cost is reduced by 1 for each instant sorcery card in your graveyard. I like that. When it's turned face up, discard your hand and then draw 3 cards. Okay, this card is coded, guys. Okay, let's go over it. This guy has way too much stuff. So 1 in a red for a 2/1 prowess haste. Just off the bat there, it's doing something on turn. As a 2-drop, it has haste. So it's doing something. 2/1. So compare this to other 2-drops with prowess. Most of them didn't have haste. Now this one doesn't have flying, but it has haste. So drops turn 2. Hits for 2/1. Yeah. Hear me out, okay? This is good. This is great. That's the lowest here. And then the next turn you're swinging with it and your Swift Spheres going on in, casting like it's turn 3. You're casting like 3 lightning bolts here. Boom, boom, boom. It's bigger. It's now a 5/3 or 5. You cast 3, 5/4. You got a 4/4. You're dealing damage. This is great. Disguise, the upside here. Okay, so turn 3, you cast this face down, right? Okay, or not even turn 3. Like you've been playing the game. They're going against a control deck. Or it's turn 5. Let's say it's turn 5. You've got like 5 instants and sorceries in your graveyard. Okay, because you've been going, you've been milling, you've been doing all the stuff. And is it prowess? 3. Then 1 red, so 4 total. Boom, draw 3 cards. Okay, you're ditching your hand, you're drawing 3 cards, which is fine. You get your stuff going, you're all set, and now you have 3 more cards. And oh look, there's the burn cards I needed to finish the game off. And reminder, like that's how that works. But you could also just pay it for 3, pass the turn, and next turn swing, flip it, boom. Like, they're like, oh, I'm not going to block. There's no point. It's just a 2/2. They're going to know what it is because it's this. So they're going to block it because you know what it is. They're like, we'll block your 2/2. And you're like, cool. I'm going to flip for red. Boom. I don't care. I'm burning you for damage because I drew enough cards to get it. This gives you card draw. This gives you a prowess and haster. I love this card. This card is absolutely perfect for... both the 2, what's the 2 formats? For any prowess deck. Any prowess deck, any format. I think this is great. I'm definitely going to try 4 of them in my modern prowess deck. Galvanize. 1 in a red. Galvanize deals 3 damage to target creature. If you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn, Galvanize deals 5 damage to that creature. Is this a new card? Yes, it is. It is a new card, guys. Is it a good card? 2 to deal 3 to a creature isn't bad. 2 to deal 5, as long as you've drawn 2 or more cards to a creature, is good. But it's only creature, and that's the downside. Yep, can't hit planeswalkers. But I think there might be some say in using it in specific formats. Maybe Popper. Popper could totally use this. Gearbane Orangutan. Gearbane Orangutan. Yeah. 2 in a red for a 2/2 ape. It's a new ape, guys. New ape drop? That ape commander, guys? I got a friend. He's gonna need this. 2/2 reach. When it enters the battlefield, choose one. Destroy up to 1 target artifact. You can pop the bananas they have. Yes. Destroy up to 1 target. I think it's apes. Maybe it's monkeys. I don't know. I think they're different in this game. Maybe it's both. I'd have to double check. Sacrifice an artifact. If you do, put 1/1 counters on it. Okay. Okay, so this is interesting. So you can either pop it, drop it, and pop something they have. 3 for a 2/2 with reach, so you can block the flyers. You pop their problematic artifact, or drop it, sack your clue or some small thing, and now it's a 4/4. That's not bad. I don't mind that. As a sideboard card in an aggressive red deck, being able to pop their artifact, and if they don't, sack something. If you have a red card that makes an artifact. But Goblin Massmaker is 1 red for a 1/2 goblin. Oh, it's also... Dude, there are so many good popper cards in this set. Goblin Massmaker is a red for a 1/2 goblin citizen, and when it attacks, face down spells you cast this turn cost 1 less to cast. Oh, that's cool. 1 less to cast, which means their rate is now instead of 3/1. That's pretty good. I like that. I think that'll probably see play if there's a disguise deck that ever makes it into popper. That'll probably see play, and maybe if there's a disguise deck that make it into standard. Hurried Dronesmith. 3 in a red for a 2/3 human artificer. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. It gains haste until end of turn. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next instep. This is goated. Okay, you're getting a hasty Hopter that's going to be able to swing. Okay, this is good in a lot of CEDH decks, but it's 4 drops, so I don't love it there. But anything that you need that flyer. Boom. Get it out. It's doing something. This does something on the turn it comes down. Then it dies. So any aristocrat deck likes this because you're sacking the flyer each turn. This is great. You can get multiple of them out on the field. I think it's interesting. I like it. I think it's aggressive, but well costed. Maybe the 4 is a little too expensive in certain formats, but I like it. So, Incinerator of the Guilty. 4 and 2 red for a 6/6 dragon with flying and trample. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may collect evidence X. When you do, Incinerator of the Guilt deals X damage to each creature and each planeswalker that player controls. Okay, so this is cool. It's a dragon, you drop it, you hit them, boom, take that 6 damage. By the way, your biggest thing is 5. I'm just going to exile these 2 cards that are a 3-drop and a 2-drop and deal 5 damage to each planeswalker and creature you control. What? Cool. It doesn't do anything on the turn it falls. It does have the chance of dealing damage, though, because it's flying and trample. So I like it. I think it's interesting. I think it could definitely work in many ways. Yeah. I'm going to say goated. It is a 6-drop, though, so, maybe just dragon decks are going to see it. Innocent Bystander. 1 in a red for a 2/1 goblin citizen. When Innocent Bystander is dealt 3 or more damage, investigate. No. Moving on. Knife. 1 for an artifact clue equipment. Here's their clue equipment. As long as it's your turn, equipped creature gets +1/+0 in his first strike, and you can pay 2 and sacrifice a knife to draw a card. I think that's weak. I think it's better than the black one because it gives the first strike, but Kranko, Baron of Tenstrait. This is a possible CEDH deck, not tournament. I'm not calling this a tournament CEDH deck. This is not a TCEDH. It's just CEDH. Playing with power. Did a podcast last Friday on this. Take a look at it. Great. But Crankle Baron of Tin Street is 2 in a red for a 3/3 legendary creature goblin with haste. You tap it, sacrifice an artifact, and put a 1 counter on each goblin you control. When an artifact is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay a red. If you do, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. It gains haste until end of turn. So the way this is worded, because it has the colon, you sacrifice an artifact as the cost, then the second ability triggers, so you can pay a red for the artifact that was just put into the graveyard. And boom, you can boom, you can put a 1/1 counter. Boom, you make that goblin, and then you put a 1/1 counter on him and the other goblins you control. This is great. There's a lot of things that like sacrificing artifacts. There's a lot of ways to make goblins. Just like every other Kringle, this is a base commander. He looks cool. I'm telling you, this is a fun commander. The main thing here is just being able to sacrifice artifacts and untap him is great. And also that other effect, when an artifact is put into grave from the battlefield, you may pay a red. That doesn't have to be his effect. His effect puts the 1/1 counters on them, but his effect does trigger this. And it also triggers off your opponents. So if your opponents lose artifacts, if you're popping their artifacts, boom, pop your artifact, I'm going to pay a red. I'm going to sacrifice this treasure. I think it's not going to have rules. Rules yet here. But, so it says when an artifact is put into a graveyard from the battlefield. Death triggers trigger. Artifacts do not, or tokens do not hit the graveyard. I don't think. I'd have to, let me double check. Okay, just like I thought, they do go in the graveyard. So sacrificing a treasure triggers the effect. And that's why this guy's good, because it works in CDH with infinite treasure goblin. I forgot his name. But the one that makes treasures equal to how many artifacts and enchantments your opponents have. Because all the treasures you make, you can sack, and each one pays for its own goblin. And then you can just make infinite treasures, turning those infinite treasures into infinite goblins. So, very cool. I love it. It's a treasure deck in and out of itself. Because, again, the treasures, like, you can just make a lot of treasures and go, boom, here's my, 20 of these guys. So, it's very fun. Definitely take a look at it. I think you'll like it. Krenko's Buzz Cutter, or Buzz Crusher, is 2 and 2 red for a 4/4 Insectopter. Artifact creature Insectopter. With flying and trample. When it enters the battlefield, for each player, destroy up to 1 non-basic land that player controls. For each land destroyed this way, its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, then tap. Tapped, then shuffle. Okay, this card is goated. It's another goated card. I absolutely love it. Okay, check this out. 2 and 2 red for a 4/4. Flying, trample. That's all fantastic. The rest, upside. So enters the battlefield. For each player, not a choice, for each player, destroy up to 1 non-basic land that player controls, okay? This is everywhere. Everyone runs non-basic lands. Imagine Modern. You drop this turn 4, pop their thing. Now they have to go search their library for a basic land card. Put it on the battlefield, tap, and shuffle, okay? This is great, because now, I got rid of your colors. And I have a 4/4 flying with trample. This is goated. This is absolutely fantastic. I think it's I think some people see that it's good, and other people think, it's not great. But, it's great. It doesn't target, so I don't know if, it gets around hexproof. It's battlefield. For each player, destroy up to 1 non-basic land that player controls. I think it targets, I don't know. I think I read somewhere that, Magic is turning into Yu-Gi-Oh! Where targeting matters because they wanted to find a way around hexproof. But, because it says destroy up to 1 non-basic land that player controls, which is not targeting it. It's just that's non-basic land, and I'm going to destroy it. So, if it does, it does. If it's not, I'm not sure. Ask a judge. I'm not a judge. But it's cool. I think it's really good. Popping their problematic card lands. Lamplight Phoenix is 1 and 2 red for a 3/3. Phoenix, flying. When Lamplight Phoenix dies, you may exile it and collect evidence 4. If you do, return Lamplight Phoenix to the battlefield tapped. I like it. It's a Phoenix. 3 for a 3/3 of flying that can just constantly recur itself. It'll be good in Phoenix decks. That's about it. I don't think it'll be seen playing anywhere else. Definitely run it in, like, if you pull this as a card, run this in pre-release. Offender of at large. 4 in a red for a 5/4 giant rogue. Oh, that is a giant, okay. Disguise 4 in a red. When Offender at large enters the battlefield or is turned face up to 1 target creature gets +2/+0 till end of turn. It's not good. Not good, it's slow, don't play it. Person of interest, 3 in a red for a 2/2 human rogue, and when it enters the battlefield, suspect it and create a 2/2 white-blue detective creature token. I like this in pre-release as a common. Like, it's 4, you get 2 2/2s, and it's got menace, so it's going to be able to hit better. I like that. Pyrotechnic Performer, 1 in a red for a 3/2 Vishnu Assassin. Disguise for a red. When Techno Performer or another creature you control is turned face up, that creature deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. Okay, this all of a sudden does stuff. This is what's going to help you. In a standard disguise deck, this allows you to turn 3 cast it, turn 4 flip it for a red. You can still do stuff that turn and hurt them. You can run a lot of low power, low disguise cards, and on turn 4 flip this, maybe flip another card. This is going to deal 3 damage to each opponent, and then you're going to flip a second card dealing another. Even on turn 4, you could deal 6 damage with 2 of these because this is going to double the triggers with 2 of them. So if you have 2 of them and you pay 3 on turn 3, and then you pay 3 on turn 4, and then turn 5 you flip them both. One flips, in response you flip the other. Okay, they're both turned up. They're both going to trigger. So its effect is when Pyro or another creature you control is turned face up, that creature deals damage to equal to its power to another opponent. So they both see the triggers. I think, again, I'm not a judge, but the way this will work is then this will allow you to then because I think both abilities trigger. So it'll see its own ability and its opponent and the other one's ability because they both, and that'll do 6 damage to your opponent and then 6. Don't quote me on that. Maybe it's a global effect and you don't get that add-on. But maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Either way, I think this is going to make disguise decks a viable thing in Standard. Reckless Detective. Oh, and it's very useful in for a disguise deck in Commander. Reckless Detective is 1 in a red for a 0/3 Devil Detective, and when it attacks, you may sacrifice an artifact or discard a card. If you do draw a card in Reckless Detective, gets +2/+0 until end of turn. I like that. So either you're discarding a card, drawing a card, or you can sack an artifact and draw a card. And I like that Red's getting that sack and artifact. So this is a great way to just turn your clues into artifacts, or into your clues into draw for free. You don't have to pay the 2. And it makes it a 2/3, which isn't bad. I don't mind that. I think that's completely fine in Standard. In a Standard like Clue deck. Red Herring. I love that we get a Red Herring. 1 in a red for a 2/2 artifact creature Cluefish. Haste. Red Herring attacks each combat Fable. Pay 2, sack it, draw a card. Okay. I mean, like, it's 2 that attacks, and then if someone goes to block it, you can just go, I sacrifice it. You won't deal. I think the damage is dealt? No, I think the damage isn't dealt anymore. But, you can sack it to draw a card if someone blocks it, so. Yeah, not bad. I think it's fine. I could possibly see it being the 2-drop if someone really needs clues or artifacts or something. Rebel Belt Bargater. Or Brigate? Rebel Belt Braggart? Oh, Braggart. Okay, Rebel Belt Braggart. 4 in a red for a 5/5 Vishino Warrior. When it attacks, if it's not suspected, you may suspect it. Okay, so you can choose to make it have menace. I like it. It's a 5/5 for 5 with menace. That's not bad for, like, pre-release. Shock. That's a cool-looking shock. Suspicious Detention. This spell costs 3 less to cast if you sacrifice an artifact this turn. This spell can't be countered. It deals 4 damage to target creature. So 2 to deal 4 damage, can't be countered, and if you sacrifice an artifact, so like a clue. And I think there's too many hoops for it. The chase is on. 2 and a red for an instant. Target creature gets +3/+0 and gains first strike until the turn. Investigate. It's okay. 2 last cards here. Torch the Witness. That is cool. X and a red for a sorcery, and it deals twice X damage to target creature. If excess damage was dealt that way to that creature this way, investigate. I don't like X to 1 creature. I think it's, twice, so like for 2, you're dealing 2 damage to something. For 3, you're dealing 4 damage to something. Maybe. I don't like it. It's a sorcery too. Vengeful Tracker, 1 in a red for a 2/2 human detective, and whenever an opponent sacrifices an artifact, it deals 2 damage to them. I love these cards. The word "whenever an opponent," that phrase is my favorite. Because it's not stacks, it's not preventing your opponent from doing something. It's just saying you can do this, but you're going to get hurt. And I love this. This is great. This is going to be sideboard card in Standard if clues become a thing. And it's just great to put in a commander deck. Like, oh, you're sacrificing an artifact, are you? Oh, man, like, my bad. Shouldn't have been running treasures. Treasures are everywhere, dude. And this is, oh yeah, treasures now say lose 2 life. Or it deals 2 damage, yeah. Getting multiple of these out against a clue deck, this would mess them up. I like it. As for like the best red card that's been shown off, there is a few, but I think it's back here. I love Criminal Novelist. I love both the cases. I love Connect the Dots, but I think and Demand the Answers. Demand Answers. But I think the best one is probably Krenko. I think Krenko's got your best bet. It's going to be great. I think it's good everywhere. Because there's treasures everywhere. Like, imagine this in a goblin, mono red goblins in Modern. This is the 3-drop. It has haste. It's doing something. The treasures you made off of Ragavan, you just sack it. Put a 1/1 counter. Your Ragavan's now bigger. There's a lot of things that are working with this. So I think that's the best. Yeah. Lots of good red cards. I think it's winning so far with the colors, in my opinion. So, anyways, don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for the green cards. Peace.